Hello and good afternoon from Austria, good evening in India and in Southeast Asia, and good morning in the Americas, Latin America, South America, and also the North Americas. And hello to everybody from Africa. We are at the World Summit Award Global Congress, and we are looking at the winners in the category Environment and Green Energy. No other category has the same urgency in terms of us as a global village fighting for survival. And what you will see in this next hour and a half or so is a number of different kind of solutions which directly address the issue of deforestation, which directly address the issue of what we do to the climate by not preserving the biodiversity, and what we are doing to the planet by erosion and also by poisoning it by industry. So you will see a number of different kind of applications and solutions, which are very, very technologically interesting because many of them are involving advanced data management, very much also sensory systems, intelligent and smart solutions. But they all are selected as winners because of the specific impact they have in local communities, in local contexts. And that is what makes WSA and these winners so rich. Our session here is a session of collaboration. It's a collaboration with the German Ministry for Economic Development and the society which is set up, the agency which is set up for international cooperation, GIZ. And I want to say thank you very much to Mr. Holzberger for being and joining us here. He is in charge of the political side of this entire program, which is global in terms of the various different kind of regions and continents it addresses. WSA has worked together, as the responsible minister, Svenja Schulze, said yesterday at the opening of the Congress, worked together with the Make IT program in Ghana and in many other parts of the world, but also in Southeast Asia. And therefore, I'm very happy that we have a number of different kind of experts also joining the panel discussion of this category later on. I say hello to Atik Fadala, who is the expert on startup support and digitalization in Indonesia. Hello, Atik. And then I say also hello to Ele Hong View, who is a lean startup trainer and innovation enthusiast from Vietnam. So you can see that we will have a very rich also conversation. And I say hello also to the jurors of WSA from Ghana, from Austria, from Germany, from Brazil, Norway, and also from France. Thank you for joining us. We have a very exciting lineup of 5 winners. It's first, we will go to peer-to-peer solar trading on blockchain in Uttar Pradesh. It's a solution which is coming to us from Australia. Then we go to the Okra Pod from Cambodia. Then we switch continents and we will go all the way to Canada and we'll look at the Treeconomy. Then we go back to Europe, to Luxembourg with waves. And then we go to Turkey and look at Ecording. Are you all ready in terms of your presentations? Yes? Okay, then I want to start and say hello to Vinod Tiwari. You are a key person for the peer-to-peer solar trading on blockchain in Uttar Pradesh. What is your job within this organization? Vinod, just introduce yourself briefly.
Yeah, hello and namaste and good day from Western Australia. I'm the Global Head of Business Development at Power Ledger. And I will be talking to you about this exciting, pioneering peer-to-peer energy trading project in the state of Uttar Pradesh.
Okay. Do you have a presentation which you can show us in 3 minutes? That's the allotted time for each and every one. And then we will follow up with questions from the jury. And then after an hour or so, we will have a panel discussion involving you and also a number of different issues arising from WSA being in alignment, both regarding the transformation into the knowledge society, but also in terms of measuring the impact for the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. So, Vinod, please go ahead and show us peer-to-peer energy trading in Uttar Pradesh. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Let me start first by a bit about ourselves. We make software for decentralized and distributed energy markets. Our vision is the democratization of energy for a sustainable future. We've been operating for about 5 years and have projects in 12 countries already. Our goal is to positively impact the lives of 1 billion people with sustainable and reliable energy resource from renewable sources. Uttar Pradesh is the largest state in India with 200 million people. A third of country's unelectrified population lives here. The state is also lagging behind in the uptake of solar energy. It has target of 14,000 megawatt by 2022, but it is only at 30% of that target currently. So there is a desperate need to accelerate the deployment of affordable and sustainable solar energy. Powerledger provides a solution to this by creating market-based local peer-to-peer energy trading system using blockchain technology. Community members can trade their excess renewable energy with their neighbors, and in this peer-to-peer market, consumers can purchase renewable energy for a price much cheaper than the grid price. The solution empowers consumers and enables orderly scaling up of renewables on the grid. The solution uses cutting-edge blockchain technology. It is digitized, decentralized, and distributed. It provides reliable, verifiable, immutable audit trail, all of which is super critical for local peer-to-peer markets. So in partnership with ISGF India, Powerledger delivered India's first blockchain-enabled peer-to-peer energy trading project. As a result, participating consumers were able to get energy on an average 43% cheaper than the grid price, whilst people with rooftop solar were able to receive better return on their investment. The project further led to regulatory changes and is now part of Uttar Pradesh government's tariff order to enable growth of solar energy in the state. This project provides the perfect template for affordable, reliable, resilient, and sustainable energy for all. So other states are now following suit, and there is already a new peer-to-peer energy trading project launched in the capital city of Delhi. Regulatory changes are in pipeline across the rest of the country to further encourage solar energy trading. There are also opportunities now to expand peer-to-peer solutions to integrate with solarizing villages and solar pump programs in rural areas of the state and further enhance quality and reliability of their energy systems. This pioneering project in the state of UP, we believe, clearly demonstrates how peer-to-peer energy trading can enable sustainable energy future. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Vinod. You are exactly in time. That is wonderful. Can I ask anybody of the jurors who wish to ask a question? I can see 2 hands up. One is coming from France. Damien Marquis, please, and then Gabriele Tatzberger, please. Damien, please.
Thank you, Peter. Hello, and thank you very much for this very interesting pitch and solution. Could you, what is very striking is the use of blockchain, because could you elaborate a little bit more as to what sits on the blockchain? Is it the exchange between of energy, or is it the proprietary aspect of the energy? Can you elaborate, or is it the trading or the paying of it? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the great question. And the blockchain in this particular project is recording all the transactions. So the entire meter data of all the participating entities, prosumers and consumers, is hosted. It is on blockchain. And then every peer-to-peer transaction is recorded on blockchain. So it creates a time-stamped audit trail for every transaction traded between peers. So that is the primary purpose here. But it can be extended for settlement purposes down the track as well. That functionality has currently not been enabled in this project.
Okay, thank you very much. Gabriele, please, Gabi.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for the impressive presentation and your project. I would be very interested to hear a little bit more about the biggest obstacles you're facing as you're already working in many different countries. And the other thing is how you would explain what is your difference to other competitors on the market.
Great question indeed. So I suppose the biggest difference is obviously the stack of technology is different, but it's also about our approach to the whole solution. It is not only about benefiting people with rooftop solar or community who need renewable energy. Prosumers are certainly benefited with better return on investment. Consumers are benefited with cheaper, cleaner power. But it's also about creating an orderly scaling up of renewable on the grid. So enabling these local energy markets in a way that supports the resiliency of the utility of the local distribution network, so without hampering its day-to-day operation. So in the world of electricity markets, reducing the flexibility requirement or enabling a scalable ramping up of renewable on the grid. So that is, I suppose, our real differentiator here, and also the fact that we not only work with direct end users and the application hosts or utilities that use these solutions, but we also go a step further up the supply chain to work with policymakers and regulators directly. So as demonstrated in this project, we work directly with the State Electricity Regulatory Commission, and then the project itself led to the successful deployment, led to the regulatory changes in the state, and that, as we are now seeing, that is now almost like a dominoes effect. It is spreading to other states and almost throughout the country.
Thank you very much, Vinod. I think what Gabi is asking is showing you very clearly that this has a possibility and potential of a global impact. Let me just understand a couple of things regarding your business model and then also regarding you being a winner in WSA. The first thing is this peer-to-peer energy trading basically cuts out the big hydro companies, but you still need a grid in order to connect. Are you depending on established grids, legacy grids, or are you setting up grids as well? Or does your software solution depend even on you also providing the grid infrastructure? That would be my first question.
Well, thanks again for the great question. The physics doesn't change. So for electricity to be transported, there is a requirement for infrastructure. We can use the existing grids that exist, or they could be microgrids or the standard national grids in many markets. So we don't develop our own grid. What we offer is a software solution, which is backed by the core technology of blockchain behind it. So the infrastructure that we utilize is the current existing infrastructure. And we actually work in partnership with utilities. So whilst their business models may get disrupted or may have to be changed or revamped, the solution actually is offered through these utilities to the end users.
Okay, and the utilities, the established utilities, get a cut of the trading, or how do they make money in terms of them maintaining the grid and having obviously the infrastructure costs?
Yeah, so the business model is we offer it as a white label solution to the utility, and the utility obviously makes it available to its consumer base. They facilitate these local energy markets, peer-to-peer trades, so they have all the rights to take a transaction fee on those transactions. So typically that's how it scales up.
Last question which I have is WSA is especially set up in order to support the transition to the knowledge society. So what do you do in terms of getting people to understand what the potential is, to train people in terms of how to manage and work with your software solution, and what is the content aspect of your solution itself?
Yeah, so we are very strong on market education. We very actively already participate in thought leadership space in energy trading, in new energy systems, and almost because this what we are creating here is a new operating system for a new energy market. So we take that active leadership role in communicating that message. Our chairman, Dr. Gemma Green, myself, and all other key members in the company, we actively take part in events, conferences, webinars, roundtables, and also communicate through various articles, journals, and share our knowledge base. Our journey itself has been remarkable in 5 years now in 12 countries from one proof of concept in Western Australia. So we very actively share our knowledge with community. And through WSA, we've had multiple publications, for example, with in partnership with IEA, IRENA, and joint webinars, etc. as well. National partnerships with Ministry of Energy in Malaysia. Indian project also is in partnership with government of Uttar Pradesh. So there is a constant sharing of information with policymakers, with regulators on how they can utilize this technology for real good for community at large.
Thank you very much, Vinod. I think that this is highly inspiring, and you're providing a much needed solution also in terms of the democratizing of energy provision and energy consumption. Thank you very much for your presentation. We'll go on right away to the next project, which is very much linking up thematically to what you have done, Vinod. And we are welcoming Marcus van der Velde, who is from Okra Pod in Cambodia. Marcus, you don't look like somebody from Cambodia. You are supporting people in Cambodia. Where are you calling from?
I'm actually calling from South Africa at the moment, Peter. And yeah, we grew our company in Cambodia, but since then we've kind of sprouted out all over the world.
Okay, so this is even before WSA, and now you will have a global reach. Marcus, show us your presentation. You have 3 minutes for showing Okra Pod and also what you're doing in terms of making energy affordable and clean and to sustain communities and cities. Please.
Great, thanks, Peter. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Marcus. I'm from Okra Solar, and we're providing a hardware and software solution that's helping the last mile with the energy transition. As many of you might know, around 760 million people live without electricity globally. More shockingly, however, it is estimated that around 70% of people living in developing countries still rely on wood and charcoal for their primary source of heating and cooking. Traditionally, getting electricity out to last mile communities has been done through mini-grids or standalone systems. Mini-grids have been too expensive due to last mile communities being very dispersed, leading to high energy distribution costs. On the other hand, standalone systems that's being distributed in last mile communities has been too weak to truly pull households out of energy poverty, giving access only to lights and fans. The mesh grid offers a more modular solution designed for electrification of last mile communities. Households can be installed standalone, or when they are close together, they can be interconnected into smart power sharing clusters. And to differentiate our solution, the Okra Pod produces 1.2 kilowatts of power output. This is enough for households to adopt clean cooking and is even enough to power fridges and freezers. And with data streaming in from the field, our IoT, along with our software platform, allows our partners to run operations like automated maintenance and appliance financing. We believe that the mesh grid, along with the Okra Pod, unlocks the energy opportunity that is last mile energy access. And in a community in Uttar, Cambodia, energy access helped the community increase the sellable yield from farming activities by around 45%. This eventually led to 100% of the community reporting more disposable income. Globally, in partnerships with innovative companies, our technology has reached around 4,000 people, with about another 2,000 being reached within the month from Okra mesh grids being deployed right now. We believe that our solution addresses the energy needs of around 500 million people. People not using enough power to justify a mini-grid, but using too much power to find the low-power SHS system useful. And that's why we believe the Okra Pod, along with the mesh grid solution, is key to addressing Sustainable Development Goal 7 and the other SGD goals that it unlocks. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. This is just absolutely great. I'm asking now the jurors again for any kind of questions they might have. Is there anybody who wants to start off? Yes, Gabi again from Austria, please. Gabi, that's fair.
Thank you very much for the presentation and the impressive project you are implementing already. I fear that my video is not working. I don't know why, but I think it will work like this as well. My question would be how you manage the maintenance and which investment costs are connected with your project for an individual household.
So usually we work with energy developers that basically gain concession rights over an entire community that then deploy the solution there. And the maintenance is almost twofold. So on the one hand, because of the low voltage distribution, we can train local community members to then become what we call the LMA, or the local maintenance agent. And then the energy developer kind of runs, using our software platform, runs insights through that local maintenance agent, which then performs the actions in the field. And from a household investment perspective, some of our developers charge a connection fee, but the majority of them run an energy as a service business model. So the equipment is installed at the households, and then they just pay for the power that they use.
Thank you very much. Can you just explain to us a little bit more about the specific technological solution of the mesh grid? Because a lot of people, I mean, we were talking with Vinod before about how they are having a peer-to-peer energy trading solution. I think that people understand that because you're basically setting up solar panels, or you have a wind generator, and then you trade this with other people who have a energy need. What is the mesh grid actually doing in comparison to what you said, mini grid or standalone solution? Please go ahead.
So I think when you talk about mini grids, a lot of times what happens is you kind of have to take the entire community and kind of comb them over with the same comb, so to speak. And with mesh grids, what you can do is, firstly, you can go to the households and figure out exactly what kind of energy resource they would require, and then install only that capacity at that household. And then the kind of innovation with the mesh grid is you can then interconnect the different households to each other, and then they can do both solar and battery sharing to kind of help stabilize. If, for example, that one household uses much more power one day because of a wedding, for example, they can share power or pool power from the adjacent households to kind of substitute their loads. So it's just a way of really balancing the network while still using the kind of simplicity that you get from using standalone home systems from an installation perspective.
Okay, so you make basically the grid interactive.
So to speak, yes. Interactively sharing, yeah.
We just need to put this into let's say easy understand terms. One of the things which people are really interested in is you started off in Cambodia, you are now moving into South Africa, and you said also that you are moving into Nigeria. How does this work in terms of I mean, the rollout and also the spreading of your technology? And after you answer this question, then Tori Hogland from Brazil and Norway will have a question for you, and then we move on. Please go ahead.
I guess just to clarify, we're not entering South Africa. I'm from South Africa, and I'm currently here visiting my family. We're working in Cambodia and in the Philippines, and we're now entering Nigeria. And the kind of main reason for the shift is, I guess, as people might know, the Nigerian energy market has very great. They're a very innovative bunch, and they have great subsidies, and it kind of fits perfectly with our solution. So we started in Cambodia. We built the base technology there, and we tested it both in Cambodia and the Philippines. And then we did a couple of programs with the governments where we energized communities. And right now it's kind of in a state of Cambodia where the government has to decide whether they want to go ahead with mesh grids or rather opt with mini grids. And yeah, essentially, we're trying to work with developers that want to implement this innovative approach. It's definitely different to what's being done, and that's what we're focusing on.
Okay, Tore, please. Last question.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, congrats, Marcus. My question is basically much aligned with what Peter just said. Your expansion plan, you said you had like 4,000 users now, and the plan is to get up to 500,000. How is that going to be done?
Nigeria and Haiti is going to be our main focus. We're basically trying to employ a mix of what we refer to as an SPV strategy. So working with one or two core partners in Nigeria and one in Haiti that we're going to help fundraise essentially to scale their projects up to a couple of thousand households. And then, just kind of bringing in new developers, working with them, and then kind of going through the same process. So almost leveraging our own fundraising capabilities to help our developers scale.
Okay, so let me thank you very much, Marcus, and thank you for calling in from South Africa. The good thing is you are prior to lunch with your family, so that's very good. And please stay online because we will have another discussion round with all the experts in about 25 minutes. Let's move on from Cambodia, Philippines, Nigeria, South Africa, all the way to North America and go to Canada and look at how Earth observation and artificial intelligence can revolutionize the forest carbon markets. And let's look at Treeconomy. Rob Godfrey, are you in the call? Rob? I can see Rob in the call, but I can't hear.
Hello. Hi, Hello. Can you hear me now, Peter?
Yes, I can hear you, and now I can even see you. That's
even better.
Are you calling in from Vancouver, Edmonton, Montreal, Winnipeg, or even St. John's, Newfoundland?
I'm none of the above, actually, Peter. I'm from Toronto originally, and spent a bit of time on the West Coast.
But you don't have too many trees in Toronto.
Don't have as many as I'd like, but I'm actually in London, England, right now, where I'm living.
You enjoy also the global connectiveness of our internet. Tell us a little bit about your Treeconomy, and do you have a presentation for us? And you would have 3 minutes to share it.
Yes, no, I'd be happy to share a presentation. Just give me 1 second, and I'll bring it up. Thank you. There we go. Let me know if that's coming through.
Perfect. You can see unlocking nature's value.
Fantastic. All right, great. Well, then I'll get going. Thanks everyone for being here and for your attention. I'm going to start the presentation with a few numbers, a few rather alarming facts. And the first of these is 418 parts per million. That's the average concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere today. It's the highest it's been for 4.5 million years. And what this and all the science tells us is that we really urgently need to remove CO2 from the atmosphere, as well as halt emissions. Next, 68%. That's the amount by which wildlife populations have declined in the last 50 or so years. It's equally clear we need to protect and restore habitat. And finally, $536 billion. That's how much the UN estimates we need to invest annually in nature to avert the worst effects of climate change and ecological breakdown. Right now, we as a planet spend only about $133 billion. And so what that means that we need to triple investments into nature-based solutions. Half of this needs to be made into protecting and restoring forests, our green lungs, and home to 80% of terrestrial biodiversity. And so with a huge and urgent need to close this nature funding gap, you might be thinking, what about carbon offsetting? That is paying for nature-based carbon credits to finance tree planting or forest protection. Well, bad news, carbon offsetting as it's practiced today is broken. So you remember that 536 billion figure? The fast-growing carbon market's only worth about 1 billion today. It isn't delivering anywhere close to the impact that's needed. And this is down to a number of reasons. First of all is inaccuracy. We've got $1 billion market that needs to scale massively, but it's based on bad data. I mean, this photo here is how carbon in trees is estimated today with tape measures. That's the same tool we've been using for 2 centuries. And the result is a huge margin of error in carbon quantification, more than 50% at one site we assessed. The second major reason is that nobody's watching. The standards that seek to regulate the market, they only require a project check every 10 years or so. A lot can happen in that time. This is a picture of a carbon project in Madagascar, which was turned into an illegal sapphire mine. And so ultimately, these issues contribute to a real lack of trust, and that keeps private finance on the sidelines and out of funding nature. And that's where we come in as Treeconomy. We're using digital technology to bring trust, transparency, and traceability to nature-based offsetting. And instead of tape measures, we're embracing 21st century tools like aerial drone surveying for high spatial resolution. We're combining drone data with high-res satellite imagery for scalability and high temporal resolution. We're developing machine learning models that can count trees rapidly, accurately. And we're analyzing 3D data to assess forest structure. Then using computer vision techniques to extract features, measure trees for accurate carbon measurement and monitoring down to the tree level. And finally, we're developing our Sherwood platform as a blockchain-enabled registry and reporting tool that presents real data and project insight to carbon offset buyers. And as a business, we help landowners make money from growing forests while supporting corporates in offsetting credibly and impactfully. In the 16 months we've been around, we've made great strides, won some innovation funding, got 46 projects in our pipeline right now. We've doubled the price landowners can achieve for their offset credits. We've also been honored to have earned some accolades along the way, shown here. But the traction I'm most proud of is that we've managed to gather a really passionate team that combines skills and knowledge in sustainable finance, remote sensing, software development, forestry, and climate science. And it's a team that's fully bought into our impact vision. We've set ourselves some lofty but achievable goals. The next 5 years, we want to deliver 150 million tons of carbon sequestration potential, support 300,000 hectares of reforestation, improve the net incomes of participating landowners by at least 20%, and catalyze more than $100 million into ecosystem restoration. And it's all part of our focus on achieving systemic win-win-wins across SDGs 1, 13, and 5. And we've started our work in Canada and Europe. We've got a global mission. We can't wait to work with the worldwide WSA network to try and realize that goal. Thanks very much.
Robert, you are absolutely great. You're perfectly in time. You're articulate and smart. Let us basically understand the solution. What you're doing is you have an integrated data, let's say possibly, dashboard for monitoring using remote sensing, the data science, and also the different kind of machine learning and other tools, including visualization, in order to get people to basically understand better what it is, what's happening. Now, how is this related to the green finance tools which you were talking about? I did not see that.
Sure. Yeah. So the core of what we're doing is absolutely orbiting around the remote sensing technology and the AI that we're developing to measure, monitor forest carbon more accurately and bring reliability to the space. And so the idea in brief is that we're using technology to help markets help nature. And so what the technology in accurately measuring allows us to do is potentially innovate new financial products that are dependent upon an ability to measure these things over time. So looking at something like a carbon purchase agreement, for example, which would mimic and learn from the success of renewable energy project development and project finance, where you've got a stream of electricity that you're buying from out of the future effectively. But we can't really do that with nature-based solutions until we've got a reliable way of knowing how much carbon is there. And so that's one of the ways in which the technology can permit sort of business model and financial innovation to crowd money into ecosystem restoration.
I will come back to this later on, possibly, but Mark Holzberger has a question from you from Germany. Mark, please.
Mark, and thank you very much, Rob. I've got three quick questions. First one is, can you tell us in which countries you're active? Second, do you need any specific regulatory framework for your activities? And third, do you have specific targeted groups? Thank you.
Sure. No, good question. So starting with the first, and as far as the countries we're working in, so we've done quite a lot of work across over more than 12,000 hectares in Eastern Canada, and a number of the projects in our pipeline, the majority of the projects in our pipeline are actually in the UK. It's quite a sympathetic policy environment with the existence of a national forest carbon standard that's been really helpful for us. We've also got some memoranda of understanding in place with projects just coming online in Ecuador and potentially in Ethiopia as well. But really the majority of our activity, as I said, has been in Canada and the UK, that we're really keen to scale that. I think your next question was around sort of regulatory frameworks that are relevant here. So we operate mostly entirely so far in what's called the voluntary carbon market rather than the compliance market. Cap and trade schemes, emission trading schemes like the EU ETS. That's not where we play. But there is obviously still regulation of relevance, where I mentioned that there's a domestic standard in the UK where we do a lot of our work. That's administered by Scottish Forestry and the UK government, and presents regulation that we need to comply with, certain national forestry standards, for example. So those are certainly relevant to the work that we do. And then generally keeping our eyes on the development of carbon markets, the collision of sort of voluntary and compliance markets, this idea of corresponding adjustments that's come out of COP26, that's slightly changing the landscape and leading to this kind of convergence, where we may see countries beginning to sort of expropriate credits, for example, from the voluntary market. So it's a really dynamic space, but mostly regulated by these voluntary standards that exist around the world. And your final question, I guess, was around our targets, I suppose, target groups on either side of the business. So we're really keen to work with rural landowners of all kinds, but especially farmers, and in the UK, but beyond, and really taking advantage of the scalability and the cost effectiveness of the technology to try to bring medium and smaller landowners into the voluntary carbon market, which is a space they've been excluded from for a long time. And on the demand side, I mean, working with the variety of corporate customers, whenever someone says they've got a net zero target, that's a potential customer because it means they need to offset. And we want to ensure that they're doing it as credibly and as impactfully as possible. As far as priority sectors within the demand side, we're definitely interested in working with those that actually have a presence on the land, where we can achieve not just offsetting, but insetting, helping to realize projects within their physical footprint or within their physical supply chains. So companies in the agricultural and sort of food and beverage space, as an example. But we've seen a lot of interest from companies with low scope 1 and 2 emissions, but high scope 3 emissions in sort of financial and professional services, and increasingly in tech.
Thank you very much, Robert. I think our time is up. There's lots more to discuss. We'll come back to you in 20 minutes. But now we will go to Luxembourg and we will look at WAVES and sustainability management platform which you developed. And I say hello to Armin Nices. Hi, hello, Armin.
Hello, Peter, and hello to everyone. Hi.
Where from Luxembourg are you? Because I mean, Canada is big, but Luxembourg is small. But there are still a lot of places in Luxembourg.
There's the city of Luxembourg where we are located. Yes.
Okay. What does your sustainability management platform do? What's the vision? What's the operation? What's the market? What's the business model? Just introduce this to us. You have 3 minutes, please.
Yes, I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, it's about WAVES, scale-up sustainability. It's a solution for in the B2B context. So there are a lot of challenges for companies. They need to comply with current, but also upcoming environmental and social standards and regulations. And more customers and end consumer demand reliable statements from companies about their sustainability indicators. That's the reason why we came up with the first of its kind sustainability management platform with a vision to make sustainability visible and to enable circular economy. It is not us who save the world, but we give millions of responsible managers and decision makers in the company the transparency to incorporate sustainability into their daily decisions. Starting with a carbon footprint, and then in the direction of circular economy, there are other footprints like environmental and social footprints, and all is included in this cloud-based sustainability management platform, and it is to steer companies towards sustainability by starting with the transparency of the status quo, then goals and action, and the most important is to show your improvements ongoing. Let me explain it with this kind of example from a brewery. The first point is, yes, of course, we can calculate the footprint of the company itself and the site, but that is not enough. We need to also build up a transparency across the entire supply chain by involving the carbon emissions for the transport. There are a lot of logistics service providers, but also all the suppliers, so that the producer themselves can give reliable statements to their customers, to end consumer. It's all based on the latest cloud technology with a fully automated interface to our customers' IT landscape. And in the middle, we are TÜV certified, so that the results at the end of the calculations are correct, are compliant, and the customer can use it with dashboards, but also with a fully automated data export. So companies can be compliant, can realize reduction, save money, and we are on the market with different modules, starting with the logistic modules, but now also we call it sustainable companies for our production industries like automotive, food and beverage, fashion, construction. A team with 11 in the middle of Luxembourg, computer scientists, eco-balance experts, and we are just a startup, but time to act is now with Waves. You are one footprint ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Armin. Nora tells me that you're exactly in time, which makes everybody happy because of the fairness of our procedure. What I understand from you is basically you are the people who allow companies to reach the SDGs on their own organizational level.
By building up transparency. So there are a lot of data available in the companies, and data are used for a lot of things, but not for sustainability. We want to enable the responsible acting managers to manage sustainability like never before.
We had yesterday a very interesting panel on the issue in terms of how different markets are developing in North America, Latin America, and Central America. And one of the things which people from Chile, as well as from Guatemala and from Canada, were exchanging on is this issue, or those issues regarding triple impact models. So to basically not just look at profit, but also look at people and planet, the social and also the environmental. So your solution is actually helping that.
Yeah, absolutely right.
I see there are a number of people who have questions, and I will start with first Isabel Schmidbauer. She is coming to us from Austria. Then I will go to Mark Holzberger, and then I have Gabriela Datzberger. Please, Isabel, turn on your camera.
Yes, I think you can see me, right?
Wonderful.
Yes. Thank you so much for the presentation. You said that you want to steer companies towards sustainability. So we know that there are companies that are already much interested in the topic and, let's say, investing in that sense. But there are also many that still have not, let's say, seen the need or still don't see sustainability, or it is something that they're not yet focusing on. How what is your strategy to get, because I think the product would be, especially for them, very interesting, but my experience is that there are many that don't have it, don't have sustainability on their radar. So your product would help, but how do you get it to them?
Yeah, you're right. So we address a lot of different companies also starting with sustainability. So we offer consulting services as well to help companies to start, or it's like a kickstart to come into this topic, because a lot of especially small and medium-sized companies are not able to hire their own sustainability experts. So that what could be digital, we are going to offer as well in our platform. So to think in platform and to make sustainability knowledge available also in this usage of platform and indicators, that is a special point for us as well to address a lot of the mass market of different companies who are not starting yet.
Thank you very much. Next question comes from Mark Holzberger from Germany. Please, Mark, turn on your camera.
Yes, thank you. I've got just one question. Your work relies very much on approved indicators. And my question is, do you have difficulties in finding enough regional or globally accepted indicators?
Yeah, absolutely right. So on the from the science perspective, there are a lot of indicators, but there are just a few established in the companies. But fortunately, very, very soon, so in January 2024, from the EU, there will be the new CSRD, Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, and additional to that, there will be implemented a new standard with a clear definition of indicators, and it will be mandatory for companies bigger than 500 employees to report it at minimum as a yearly report.
Okay. Thank you very much. So there is a business opportunity coming towards you by 2024. I hope that you are having enough investments until then. Gabriele Tatzberger, please.
Thank you again. Mark, thanks for the question. That was the one I was interested as well. And the other thing is your product sounds so easy and smooth and perfect, but we know that it's in reality a very complex issue. So how are you dealing with the complexity and also how much efforts the companies need to invest in order to get to a stage where you say, okay, this data level is enough in order to really work on it, because this is a huge process a company has to establish.
You're absolutely right. The complexity is high, and to address complexity, standard processes and the latest technology, especially cloud technology, need to be used. That's the point. That there is a bigger effort on the page of our customers, because the necessary data are not often in the leading ERP system. So we see that there are a lot of existing databases and other systems around where necessary data are. So that is just implementation effort for the customers. But then if it is connected once with the interfaces, with the API to our system, there is no additional effort. It's just the transparency, and then a manager can decide, can define goals, and can implement actions.
Thank you very much. That is wonderful. And I'm sure that Gabriele Tatzberger has a lot of inspiration. She is the person who is the Director of Startup Services for the City of Vienna and its economic agency. And that is really something, where we see how much collaboration might also deliver to each of us in terms of moving towards the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you very much, Armin.
Thank you.
We move on right away from Luxembourg, and we will go to further east. We go to Turkey, and we come to Sarah Solmaz. Sarah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing? You're working for something called Ecording.
Yeah.
That is a social startup and business, and you're doing a number of very, very interesting things in terms of reforestation, but also in terms of economic development and giving work to women. Just tell us a little bit more about what you do, and you have 3 minutes for your presentation. Do you have your slides ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, can you see my? No, okay.
We can see you now.
Okay. Now you can see my screen, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you can make it full screen, that is wonderful. Yes, yeah. Very good.
Hi, this is Zehra from Turkey. My venture Ecording is creating technologies for combat the climate crisis, and we are feeling the effects of the climate crisis more and more every day. And 1.2 trillion more trees are needed to stop the climate change in our planet. And we think that the key to the solution in the nature itself. That's why we created Ecodrones. And Ecodrone, if we basically describe, Ecodrone is unmanned aerial vehicle developed by Ecording. Ecodrone delivers airborne seed balls shoot in hard-to-reach areas that need to be afforested. And we imitate the way nature creates forests with these ecodrones, actually. And we are not using delivering only seeds. We are using seed balls way because we have in this way 16 times more effective seed germination rate and 12 times less afforestation cost. And we are also working in the seed ball production process with women who deeply affected by climate crisis, and we create employment for these women, and we try to reduce their inequalities. And we are integrating our business model to brands, services, and products thanks to one QR code. And thanks to this QR code, their consumers also can follow their seed germination journey via email from us almost 2 years. And in this way, we would like to raise awareness about climate crisis, how crucial and important climate crisis for our common future. And with this, our business model, we have delivered 10 million seed balls in last 2 years. And this is our lovely team who are behind of all these technologies and projects. And our goal is deliver 1 billion seed balls to soil by 2013, various parts of the world. And we have more than currently more than 80 brands and businesses who are supporting us in this journey for afforestation budgets. And we would like to scale our impact globally, and because we believe that climate crisis is not a local thing, it's a whole problem all over the world. That's why we would like to move our operations to other regions of the world, and like South Africa, South America, and like Europe. And also we would like to move our business model to another countries. And as always, we say, take action with us.
Sarah, this is wonderful. You are more than just in time. Thank you very much for showing us this.
Thank you.
Very, very interesting solution. You use drones, not like other people, just for the issue of sensing, but you're using the drones to basically deliver the seed balls to areas which are difficult to get at, I guess, mountainous areas, and also areas where you don't want to build streets and don't want to send people in. How much more effective are those seed ball delivery systems in that sense, in terms of the issues you talked about, 16 times more effective in terms of seed germination? What do you do in terms of watering, and also, supporting the germination?
Actually, it's like that 16 times more effective if you compare with seed and seed ball way. If you compare with planting saplings with human hands, it's always a little bit less efficiency because of the every plant is also coming from one seed. But we are trying to reduce these obstacles with increasing our number of seed balls, because in one operations, physical operations, it takes 1 month, something like that. We are delivering at least 4 million seed balls, and we are trying to catch the efficiencies like planting saplings.
Okay, I'm not seeing any juror now asking a question. Therefore, I will follow on and report to you what in the grand jury was discussed. And that is that you are also doing what you showed here, a lot of work in terms of building up awareness of what the solution is. For instance, with this app, where individuals can follow how the campaign is working for delivering seed balls. How is that coming along, and how successful are you with this app, not to speak of the organic seed ball smoothie?
Actually, it's not an application. It's a web blend space. And with this, after you scan this QR code, for example, in Turkey, we are collaborating with Dell. If you buy one computer from Dell, you can see our QR code on one sticker, and it's written like that. On your behalf, for buying this computer, we are delivering 10 seed balls. Scan the QR code and follow your seed germination journey. After you scan, you can reach this web panel, and if you would like to get information about your seed germination journey, you have to register with your email addresses. And after that, we are giving in some periods whole information about your our operations, your seed germination, and what is the about situation about this whole field. And also we are giving the efficiency very honest way. Okay, in this area our efficiency is like that, and in this part of area our efficiency is like that. Because in Turkey we have 7 regions, and every region has their own climate, and that's why, for example, in Middle Anatolia, very dry region and geography, our efficiencies can be a little bit lower than if you compare Mediterranean or Black Sea. But for giving very honest information, we also sharing consumers for this information.
Thank you very much. We saw that when you submitted your application, how you are also selecting the type of seeds according to ecological environment. I think that's very well understood. Thank you for explaining this to us. There's a question from our Board of Director member from Ghana, Dorothy Gordon. Dorothy, please.
Thank you so much for a great presentation. There are a few questions I have. One is, this looks so labor intensive. I agree that the labor intensity is giving opportunities to rural women, which is good. But it raises questions as to how transferable this model would be and how you can take it to scale.
Actually, we really would like to move our operations to other part of the world. But now currently we are only working in Turkey geography, because all this R&D research completed for Turkey geography. Every field we are looking for around this field, for example, Middle Anatolia or Mediterranean Sea, we are looking for the woman who is need this kind of work job, who is also working in agricultural or forestry work, but they lose their job. We are collecting information, also the local partners helping us, like municipalities, and also General Directorate of Forestry in Turkey. They have some kind of management in every local part of Turkey. They are collecting informations and giving us, and we are offering the women this kind of job. But this kind of job is not very regularly, because we can only pursue our operations 2 times in a year, because it's kind of agriculture job. It depends of the climate, it depends of the time of the year. That's why we can only serve them employment in 3 times in a year. And we are really try to be selective about who is really need this job, who is really affected in terms of their job before, because maybe this woman is working, for example, in agriculture, in forestry job. But if you consider the climate crisis, if affected some society, people are generally forcibly give up the women employment, and we are trying to actually reduce this inequalities.
I think that's a very, very important point, how the climate crisis is also increasing the gender gap, or even, the divide. And that's something which we really need to address. Thank you very much for addressing this, Sarah.